Welcome back to the channel. My name is Lauren if you're new here, and if you're not new, you probably know we love eyeshadow palettes and we love to talk about eyeshadow palettes. So I thought today would be the perfect day just to sit down and talk about eyeshadow palettes. Now, what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be responding to the Eyeshadow Palette Tag. And this is a tag that Samantha March created, I think she said like 4 years ago. So I'm going to have her video down below. I'm also going to have all the questions I'm answering down below in case you want to do your own eyeshadow palette tag video as well, which if you do, please tag me so I can watch it. But we're just going to go through, there's 12 questions, and I'm just going to talk eyeshadow palettes today. So this is the eyeshadow palette tag for 2024. Samantha March did this at the end of last year. It is 2025 now, so I'm going to tweak a few of the questions just to fit the timeline a little better, but you know, we're always a little late on this channel, a little behind. But the first question is, what is your newest palette? So for this question, I thought, what was the last palette that I got in 2024? And I'm pretty sure, after going through my inbox and seeing what the last palette I ordered was, but I'm pretty sure it's this palette from Addiction Tokyo. Now, this is the, what is this called? Tinted Glass palette. And I ended up picking this up because it was on sale for like half off. And Addiction Tokyo is a brand from Japan, Tokyo. And they just make the prettiest, smoothest eyeshadows. Like their formula is insane. This is a little bit of a boring palette. So we're starting off a little boring with this tag. But it is, God, so creamy. So creamy. They're just really, really pretty. And I'm not going to be swatching everything because we would be here for days. But I just love the formula of Addiction Tokyo. So when this palette is 50% off, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to get it. Next question. What was my favorite release for 2024? This is an easy answer for me. Actually, there were a ton of amazing releases in 2024. But this one just stole my heart. This is the Roxa palette from Natasha Denona. I love purple, okay? I love purple eyeshadow. And I really do like Natasha Denona's formula. So this palette just kind of had everything for me. It had a great formula, easy to use. All of these are great standalone colors, kind of one and dones, or they all really work well with each other. So you can use them in tandem. Either way, however you want to use it, it is a beautiful, beautiful palette. And this was just my favorite. I keep reaching for this again and again because I love it. I love it. Next question is, what is a palette that you did not expect to love? Okay, and I've talked about this one too. I did not expect to love it as much as I do, but this is from Unearthly Cosmetics, and this is the Gargoyle palette. And when I got it, I was like, okay, I like it. I like kind of the dark and moody color story here, but I was like, you know, is it gonna be special? It is really special, okay? These shimmers are just absolute insanity. They're so beautiful. They're like pigmented, they're shiny, and like, look at that. Like, it's just like kind of a moody palette, and I'm in my moody era, so it's kind of perfect for how I've been feeling lately. And I was just blown away by how beautiful everything performed, especially the shimmers. The shimmers are so special in this palette. That is why I like to call it out, because they're just amazing. Like, I created one of my favorite looks with this palette, and I probably don't have a picture, of course I don't. But just every single look that I've created with this palette, I have really liked. So it was a surprise love for me. Okay, next question is, what was your favorite collab palette? So I did two for this answer. I did my favorite palette in collab with an influencer, and my favorite collab with like an IP. So let's go first. I got a giant stack of eyeshadows in front of me. So my favorite collab with an influencer this year had to be the Amy Loves an Adept collection, because first of all, look at all the glitter. Love, love, love. And then again, we're talking about just some beautiful shimmers. Every single look that I make with this palette, I love. I love. It's just like the shimmers are gorgeous. They've got multi-chromes. These colors tend to be a little more cool toned, which is my preference. I like more cool tone colors. just works better with my skin tone. I just thought this was a phenomenal palette, and I was so happy that I picked it up because I was not sure. It was one of those palettes that I was like, I don't know if I really need it. And then I saw Amy do kind of the swatches on her channel. She did some looks, and I was like, I'm gonna get it. And then I was like, this has got to be one of my favorite launches of this year. It's just so good. Now, by IP, I mean intellectual property. So not like a person, but like a collab with a business or like a movie. And for me, it was really the whole collection that I was just giddy about. But it was the Glamlight Trick or Treat Give Me Something Good palette. And again, it really was this entire collection that I just fell in love with, because the palette itself is just a very typical fall themed palette. We've got so many oranges and yellows, but I love the Trick or Treat movie. I don't know why. It's not like a phenomenal movie, but there's something about it where I rewatch it every Halloween and I love it. Okay, I love it. So when they came out with this collection, it had a mirror, it had a candle, it had lotion, it had some lip products, it had a little bit of everything. And it came in this bag that was like, it was supposed to be from the character Sam. He's got like a, God, what is that called? What is that? I think I have it somewhere, actually. Where are you, little bag? Well, it's somewhere floating around my room. But he's got like a sack as a head, and that's how all the products came. And I thought that was amazing. Like, they really went all out for this collab, and I appreciate that. Next question is, what was my favorite PR gifted palette? I don't get PR yet. One day, okay, I will be able to answer that question. Right now, I just put a sad face next to the question as my answer. So we're moving on. What is a palette that you don't love but you wouldn't declutter? I liked this question because I immediately kind of knew my answer. Also, Hunter wants to say hello. Hello. So the palette that came to mind with this question for me is actually a big surprise for me, but that's from Nomad, and that's the Ireland Wild Atlantic Way palette. I feel like I just need to spend some serious time with this palette, but the reason why I don't love it, and look, I love green, okay? Green eyeshadow and me go hand in hand. We love each other. But there is something about this palette that I just didn't feel like had enough depth. I felt like a lot of the colors looked very similar, and when I was making a look with it, it just felt like it was hard to differentiate the colors on my lids. It kind of just looked like the same color. So I was just a little disappointed. I get why they chose these colors. Like, these are very Ireland. I mean, I'm an American, okay? So for me, this is very Ireland. If you're Irish and you watch this channel, please don't be offended. I'm sorry. I want to come to Ireland so badly though. It is #1 on my bucket list of places I must visit. But I just thought that it lacked depth for me. So I never reached for it. I have a ton of green eyeshadow in my collection. This one doesn't get very much use, and I do want to pull it out, use it more, because it deserves another chance. It does. Like, I don't want to get rid of it, but I also don't want to use it, which doesn't make any sense. So I need to spend some more time with this, really figure out if I love it, if I hate it, or if maybe I do need to declutter it in my next declutter. I don't know. It fell a little flat for me, which is a bummer because Nomad comes out with some amazing, beautiful palettes. And I do like the eyeshadow formula, just wasn't a huge fan of the color story. The next question is, what is a palette you would repurchase if you lost? And this is not even a palette that's available anymore, so I would have to go on eBay or something to find it. But that's the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. And I put this as my answer because it's just a palette that I feel like I can be super creative with. All of these colors are like different formulas throughout this palette, okay? There's not like a consistent formula. Everything's a little different. Some things are super creamy. Some things are a little more dry and powdery. Some things are really pigmented. Some things aren't. It's just kind of, you never know what you're gonna get. It's just a really fun palette, and it was one that I bought early on in my makeup journey when I finally kind of rediscovered my love for makeup, especially eyeshadow. And it yeah, I just really love this palette. It means a lot to me for some reason. And I would definitely hunt it down if I lost this one. My most traveled with palette, this was hard because I don't travel with too many palettes, especially ones I love because I'm always afraid they're going to break. But I would say it's probably going to be this one from Beauty Bay. This is the Bright 2.0 palette. And for some reason, I always bring this, for some reason, I know the reason. I always bring this one with me when I go to Disney because I can do so many bright, fun, colorful looks, and that's what I love to do whenever I go to Disneyland. Yes, I'm a Disney adult, okay? We like our bright colors. And Beauty Bay is criminally underrated as a brand because their formulas are fantastic. Their mattes are really good, bright, powerful, and pigmented, and they blend out so easily while being affordable. I don't remember the exact price. I want to say it's like $32 for this palette. I have cat hair like in my lip gloss. I'm so sorry. In my topicals lip balm because my lips are so dry. But yes, this is the palette I bring with me again and again whenever I'm traveling, not just to Disney. I'll bring it to other places too. And one reason why I bring it is because it's pretty durable. Like I've never had any of the Beauty Bay palettes arrive broken. Beauty Bay is a UK brand, so they ship to me from the UK and they still arrive in one piece. So it's pretty durable, and again, it's affordable. If I need to replace it, if it breaks, if it gets lost, it's something that is easy for me to replace. So I really like traveling with this one. It's very large. It's very large and in charge. It's not compact or travel friendly. It is travel friendly in that it doesn't break. That's the important thing to me. Okay, the next question is, what was the first palette you used in 2024? I'm gonna tweak this one because I could not tell you, but I'm gonna tweak it to what the first palette I used in 2025 was, and that is the Cosmic Brushes Winter Wonderland palette. Now, this was in my project pan last year at the end of the year, and I just really loved it. I actually brought this with me to Tahoe. We were in Tahoe for a week for New Year's, and it was really fun, and this just felt right. It felt like the right palette. This is a really good palette from Cosmic Brushes, and I just thought that it really exemplified winter, okay? All the blues, all the purples, which you know I love. The shimmers in this palette are absolutely gorgeous. Like, look at that one. That is Winter Solstice. Just so beautiful. And it's just a fun palette. It was a fun palette. It's very winter, so I like to use it in winter. And since it's winter, it was perfect. Palette that sparks joy. Okay, so there used to be a brand and it closed during a couple years ago. I think it closed a couple years ago, but I just haven't had the heart to get rid of this palette because I love it. But this is the Sparrow Cosmetics One Ring to Rule Them All. If you did not know, I am a huge nerd and I am obsessed with Lord of the Rings. So the fact that a brand made a Lord of the Rings palette made me so happy. It's pretty old at this point. I don't use it, but I have it. And I just don't know if I can let it go because it makes me happy. It makes me happy that there's other people out there that love Lord of the Rings as much as I do, because we just do not see any Lord of the Rings makeup, and there should be, okay? There should be. I know they say that the elves are all natural. You know they're wearing some great blush, okay? So somebody needs to come out with a Lord of the Rings line. But this, again, Sparrow Cosmetics does not exist anymore. I don't think I would use it on my face. The shimmers kind of weep. They have a lot of moisture in them, so I definitely would not touch them anymore. I think, honestly, everything else is probably fine, the powdered ones, but it's just so old. I don't feel super comfortable using it. I just like to look at it because it makes me happy. Okay, keep for the memories. I don't think anyone else has this palette anymore, but this is the Tati Beauty Volume 1, aka the only palette from Tati Beauty. And this is another palette that I picked up when I was first really getting back into makeup and really kind of discovering my love for eyeshadow. And I used to watch Tati a lot. That's kind of, she was my gateway beauty influencer into YouTube because I didn't really watch YouTube before, and then I found her channel and I just really liked the way that she presented everything. I like that she was calm. I've never been the fan of the influencers that like to yell at you. I don't know why. Why are you so angry? You know who I'm talking about. I just didn't get that, but I really liked how calm she was. She's got a little off the rails from what I've heard lately. But, you know, when she came out with this palette, everyone was just like, must have this palette. And I also had to have this palette, so I got it. And it's a great neutral palette. It really is. It is sad that I don't even know exactly what happened to her brand. I know there was a lawsuit with the co-owner. I don't know the details. It got messy. But I don't think there'll be another palette, which is sad because this one was so fantastic. They did a great job. So kind of wish they had worked out whatever that issue was and came out with another more colorful palette. But also, I don't watch Tati anymore. This was great in the moment, and it's something I will still probably hang on to because it means a lot to me. Keeping it for the memories really fits this palette for me. And what do I think was the most underrated palette of 2024? This one was hard. Well, it was and it wasn't. Because the first palette that popped into my head that we will be talking about today is the ColourPop Twilight palette. This was the first Twilight collab that they came out with. I'm not even a Twilight fan, okay? I just like this palette. I just thought it was really good. I love the shimmers. Like the mattes perform really well. I like that it's kind of like dark and moody, like a vampire, I guess. I don't know. Again, I haven't really watched the movies. I've seen clips, right? We've all seen clips of the Twilight movie. It was never my jam, but this palette, I love this palette. I feel like ColourPop and me have kind of gone our separate ways in 2024, but this one I still respect, okay? This is great. I haven't been picking up all of ColourPop's launches. I just haven't had that many that I've been interested in. They did another Twilight collab that just came out, which I was like, no, it was very red. I was gonna pass on that. That was easy pass. This was so good though. I don't know why people didn't love it as much as I did. Now I'm pretty sure this came out in 2024, but time is weird. Who knows? Maybe it came out in the end of 2023. Either way, I still think that this is an underrated palette. Okay, well, those were my answers to the eyeshadow palette tag. I would love for you to do your own eyeshadow palette tag, or if you just want to answer any of these questions down below. Again, I'm going to have them in the description box if you need a reminder as to what they were. You don't need to write them down as I'm going through them because I've done that before too. So no judgment if that's what you're doing. But thank you for joining me. If you haven't had a chance, please hit that like and subscribe button as we help to grow my tiny channel together. It's 2025. Let's start off strong. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.